I said this book, Taurat book,
Yeah.
all of them got the policy.
Yeah.
Created them to discipline.
And I'm saying you're wrong.
If it's wrong, and you've just said it's a problem.
No.
you accept-
Yes, I said it's a problem.
You said it's a
It's a problem.
So you accept the Bible has a problem.
Okay. Can I ask you a question about your Quran?
I'm definitely not going to be on camera. I guarantee you that.
Is that no? I can't ask you a question.
You're allowed to ask me whatever you want to ask me. I might not be the right person to ask, and I'm sure there are much more knowledgeable people that can have a more fruitful debate with you.
That's quite possible. That's quite possible.
So-
Wait, was he engaging you in debate about Christianity?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
We're talking about COVID.
COVID. Okay, fair enough. So my question is a simple one. It says in the Quran that Allah is not like anything He has created. Agreed?
Am I on camera right now?
I don't know. Is he on camera right now?
Sorry?
Is he on camera right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not on camera.
You don't want to be on camera.
So, with all due respect, appreciate the question. I'm sure there are much more knowledgeable people that can answer your questions and can give you a more fruitful debate.
Fair enough. You said that so sincerely, I'm going to respect it completely. And to be fair, I don't ever remember you interrupting or forcing yourself on me, so I will respect it. I will respect it. Peace be with you, sister. We got Islam on the run intellectually. You know, you got to believe that. We're outnumbered. We're outnumbered, but intellectually we're winning the arguments. You know. Yeah. Intellectually we're winning the arguments. So be encouraged. You know. God bless you. All right, let's find someone else.
How are you?
Peace be, bro.
God bless you.
God bless you. Have you seen Steve Bonds?
Yeah, I saw him earlier. I think he went off for a drink with someone, a coffee or something.
Oh, right. That's a shame. Peace with you.
Yeah. He's quite hard to identify now, he's not in uniform.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah, I have. He was here about half an hour ago.
Just say Bob.
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 Cheers. You had a good day?
So far, so good. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. I just want to say I appreciate the fact you're willing to talk with people. You know. Okay. Let's go find. Steve Bonds is not here. What? Sorry? It's a Quran. Well, so I'm asking this question. I can ask you, yeah, if you're a Muslim. So the question is, the Quran says that Allah is not like anything that He has created. Yeah? But here it says that Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. So if Allah is not like anything He's created, why is the Quran comparing Him to something He's created? So the Quran says
You cannot compare me with something different.
exactly.
Yeah.
But the Quran is then comparing Him to something that He's created. It says Allah is the light of the heaven and the earth, the parable of His light. So there's the comparison, and then it mentions, is this as if there were a niche within, a niche is created, and within it a lamp is created, the lamp enclosed in glass, the glass is created, the glass as it were. Yes, but it says that Allah is not like anything that He's created. So why is He comparing Him?
I didn't understand it in English, but maybe if in Arabic I can understand what's going on. This in English I don't know.
Have you ever read the Injil?
No.
You should. It's a really wonderful thing to read.
You know, I want to tell you something.
Yeah, go on.
All of this is one God.
Sorry?
All this book, Quran,
Yeah.
Injil,
Yeah.
what's the name, Christianity, Judaism, all of them, it's book of Allah, God, yeah?
Yeah.
He's creating this book certain of period. Every period of nation has making big problems.
Yeah.
God created, send books to guide the population for it. For example, Jewish. He created Torah because the Jewish back at the time, they were doing dodgy things. God, He made it to discipline them.
Yeah.
Come back to the good.
Do you know as Christians we as Christians we reject the Quran
Why are you rejecting it?
because it's not from God.
But listen, every religion, you have to respect every religion, and every religion is related to the period of
So
time. Let me tell you, Jewish, as I said, God, He created Torah. He made Torah His policies, its rules to follow in order to go to the heaven, to not hurt other people. And
Are you aware that as Christians we don't accept that?
But listen, let me tell you.
We don't accept that.
That is that period. After that, Judaism, they're doing dodgy things as well. God created the book Injil. Christianity. Why? To get the population in a good way and not hurting each other.
The Injil doesn't have rules.
But listen, now,
the Injil doesn't have rules.
Back at the time, the nation of Arabs, God, because they're doing dodgy things, God created that book. He made this policy to discipline the Arabs. It means what I want to tell you, my conclusion, religion is discipline, to discipline you and me. Because without discipline, we will be like a jungle, and you will kill each other here. If it's not the police and this, like if it's not the like human policy and rules, you will kill each other. Because Muslim is saying I'm the right, you saying you are the right, Jewish is saying I'm the right. You kill each other. That's why.
You, sister, you have said that you believe that the Injil is from God.
Of course.
Right. So, and you said you haven't read it. You said you haven't read it.
What I wanted to tell you, all of them, they are policies.
So
from God.
what I would invite you to do. This is part of the Injil, and I'm going to give it to you as a gift.
No,
and I would like you to read it.
Listen,
so and for this reason, this is the reason we reject the Quran because the Quran contradicts the Injil. We reject this book because it contradicts this book. How do you know? How do you know that this book doesn't contradict this book? How do you know? You've not read it.
No, I did.
But you've not. You said earlier you didn't read it. So what does this book say?
I don't have this.
You don't. What does this book say? You said that you read this book. What does it say?
No, listen. I didn't have this, but however, I did read this.
But I'm saying this book contradicts this book.
No, I'm not going to accept that.
Right, you're saying I'm wrong, which is fine. That's your right.
No, it's not wrong.
So if you're saying that I'm wrong because I'm saying that this book contradicts this book.
No.
So I'm asking you, name me something that you know that this book teaches.
Listen.
Name me something. Name me something.
For me, let's just make it for you.
Okay.
Very, very simple.
That's my question.
Easy. This policy and this policy
are different.
And Torah policy
are different.
All of them one God.
They are different. So there you go. So as you can see, Muslims will make claims they can't verify.
Can I tell you something?
This book contradicts this book. No, sister, you can't. No, right. This book contradicts this book.
I didn't tell you that.
This book, I'm telling you that this book contradicts this book. You said you've read this book. Tell me one thing that this book. So you've not read this book?
No, I said to you.
So you've not read this book?
I haven't told you that I read it.
Have you read it?
I don't have it. I don't read it.
I don't have it. I don't read it. So how do you know that this book doesn't contradict this book? How do you know? How do you know? I would like you to answer my question. Answer my question. Answer my question. Answer my question.
What I said to you, I was very clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
I said this book, Torah book, all of them, God of policy, created them to discipline.
And I'm saying you're wrong.
As a human.
And I'm saying you're wrong.
And they are not wrong because
I am saying you are wrong in what you're saying. So there you go, guys. Muslims, and I want to applaud that Muslim woman. She's more willing to engage with me than many Christian men are willing to engage for the gospel. And she did a better job in speaking up for her faith than many Christians who are uneducated and unlearned do in speaking up for their religion. She was so convinced that she was right, even when she couldn't actually say anything that she had supposedly read from this book, because the Quran contradicts the Gospel of John. So they can't both be right. But she was willing to stand there and tell me barefaced that she knew that this book did not contradict this book. Christians, grow some balls. Seriously, get a backbone. Because if even a laywoman Muslim who clearly doesn't know what she's talking about can say so barefaced that this book and this book don't contradict one another when they so blatantly do, it tells you why Muslims are having a bigger impact in society than we Christians. So learn to speak the truth.
The brother admits that they contradict.
Yes, this Muslim brother knows that the Quran contradicts the Gospel and the Gospel contradicts the Quran. That means they can't both be right.
Which one's right?
The Gospel, and there's a way we can test it, a very objective, scientific way we can test which one's telling the truth.
Okay.
The Gospel of John states categorically, Jesus Christ was crucified on a cross. The Quran states categorically that Jesus Christ was not crucified on a cross. Those are two statements of history. We can test those statements by looking to see what other contemporaries of the same period said. This is an exercise in history. It's how we know that Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon. It's how we know that Napoleon conquered Europe. It's how we know that St. Augustine was a church father. You research and see what other people are saying. Well, Josephus and Tacitus are Jewish and pagan Roman historians who both teach that Jesus Christ was crucified. So, if on one hand we have the testimony of the Gospels saying that Jesus Christ was crucified, and we have on the other hand the testimony of the Quran, which says that Christ was not crucified, and then we have the testimony of other classical Roman historians who agree with the Gospel and disagree with the Quran, then we know that the Quran is false and that the Gospel is true. Now your quick question.
So you said the Gospels, right?
Yes, this Gospel.
Yeah.
We deal with the Gospel of John.
The Bible. Are you excluding the other Gospels?
No, not at all.
Okay. So on what day was Christ crucified? Before Passover or after Passover?
He was crucified on a Friday.
No, I asked you, which was he crucified before the Passover or after the Passover? Because if you read the Gospel of John,
let's look at it.
He'll tell you he was crucified when? Just as the lambs were being crucified.
Yeah.
And if you read the book of Mark, he'll tell you that the Last Supper happened at the same time as the Passover.
Yeah.
Which means they both can't be correct. Christ couldn't have been crucified twice. You believe one was...
So can we show these verses, please?
Of course.
Which verses?
Allow me to first make my argument, and
Yeah.
then I'll provide my reference.
Yeah, please.
Unless you're not aware of this.
Please, let's look at it.
Are you aware of it? Or
No, I just want to look at it.
No, I'm asking you.
I want to look at it.
You can look at it. I'm not
Okay,
stopping you.
that's my answer.
I'm asking you, are you aware of this or not?
I am aware that there is discussion about the date that Christ was crucified on, yes.
So, the date regarding the Passover?
Yes.
Specifically?
Yes.
So you're aware of it?
Yes.
So how can you reconcile this historically when one gospel you claim to be accurately true claims Christ was crucified before the Passover and the other one after the Passover?
Okay, so now we've let you elaborate your argument. Can you provide the verses, please?
Of course.
Yes, let's do that.
And I just want to ask you one thing.
We're going to have a discussion, bro. But while he's finding that verse, I want to point out to him that his Quran has exactly the same problem. It's called narrative differences. If you compare the story in the Quran of Adam and Eve in the different surahs, and I'll give it to you.
Wait.
He's finding his... One second. Brother.
You're speaking.
Right. No.
Christianity
Right.
is not correct because
So
Islam is wrong.
let's look at this.
Christianity is correct.
You're not
because of
listening.
Christianity.
You're not listening.
So
You're
don't
not
filter
listening.
Islam.
While he's finding the verses, I said I would point out to him that the Quran has the same problem. They're called narrative differences. If you compare the story, in Surah 2, Ayah 30 to 38, and Surah 18, Ayah 50, and Surah 7, 11 to 17, and Surah 25, Ayah 28 to 31, and Surah 17, 61 to 65, and Surah 20, Ayah 116 to 120, and Surah 38, Ayah 71 to 85, you will find that they tell exactly the same story but all of their accounts are different. They put different words into the mouth of Iblis and different words into the mouth of Allah. Now, have you found your references yet? Have you found your references? I take it that's a no. So, I'll continue while you find your... I'll continue while he finds his verses. So, the reality is that narrative stories are by their very nature accounts that cannot and do not completely capture the entire story. If all of us right now go away and write an account of what we are all experiencing at this exact moment in time, there will be differences between the narratives. And this is what we discover in the Gospels, and the Quran has exactly the same problem in it, and I have given the references, so we'll compare.
So you said it's a problem.
It's a problem in the Quran.
You accepted it's a problem. You said it's a problem. You appealed to Islam to say, well, you got the same problem as we have.
Yes.
So then it's all right. If you believe the Gospels to be true,
yes,
you don't appeal to falsity that you believe, for example, the Quran, to prove that you're right. If it's wrong and you've just said it's a problem.
No. Yes, I said it's a problem.
You said it's a problem.
It's a problem.
So you accept the Bible has a problem.
Okay, so now let me answer that question. I am right, he's right. I said it's a problem. But a problem does not mean that something is invalid. There are testimonies and witness statements. Now, listen to the logic. He wants to jump on the word problem. A crossword puzzle has problems that you have to solve. Narrative differences are things that we have to solve. They don't invalidate the testimonies. Now, if he is saying that narrative differences invalidate the text, we will compare narrative differences in the Gospels with narrative differences in the Quran, and we will see if the Quran can meet the standard he is applying to the Bible. We will do that. Is that fair? Yes, it is. So, have you found your references yet?
Yes, I have.
Right, let's go through them.
Remember what?
He's referring to the Bible, you know. Always you do if you're after
Sorry,
his name.
everyone else is through. I can't talk over.
So, what's your first reference?
Right. So, the execution was the day of the Passover, according to John, 1828 and 1914.
So, 1828
and 1914.
Right.
1914.
Let's go to 1914.
Right, now as you're doing that, let me just quickly figure. So, you believe that it's historically accurate, everything within the Gospels, the four Gospels.
Right.
History proves it. You were talking about Josephus and Tacitus,
yep,
and everything else, yep? So everything within the Bible should be historically accurate, correct?
Carry on.
I'm just asking, that was my question.
Okay, so let's read your verse. Your verse, he said that the Gospel of John in 1914 said, say it again, that the day of execution was the day of the Passover. Let's actually read what it says, because he lied to you all. It actually says, now it was the day of preparation for the Passover. It is the days before the Passover is what it says right here.
That's what I read.
I'm reading it right here, bro.
That's what I read.
Read it here. Read it here.
That's what I read.
What does it say?
That's what I read.
What does it read here?
Why on earth did you just lie about
What did it? You said it was the day of the Passover.
I just read the bold.
So what was the other verse?
Execution was the day before the Passover.
What was it the day? What was the other verse?
So
what was the other verse?
Lie against that?
What was the camera will say?
Was he crucified before the Passover or after the Passover? Because if you read the Gospel of John,
let's look at it.
He'll tell you he was crucified when? Just as the lambs were being crucified.
Yeah.
And if you read the book of Mark, he'll tell you that the Last Supper happened at the same time as the Passover.
Yeah.
Which means they both can't be correct. Christ couldn't have been crucified twice.
What was your other passage?
Honestly,
what was your other passage?
Why would you lie over something?
What was your other
like
passage?
That's incredible.
What was your other passage?
To show you have no sincerity.
I heard you say it. Did anyone else hear him say that the Gospel of John, the witnesses, Did anyone else hear him say that the Gospel of John said that the execution occurred on the Passover? Put your hand up.
I just read it.
2 witnesses, 3 witnesses, 4 witnesses.
Wow.
So I've got witnesses that agree with what I'm saying.
Wonderful.
There we go.
Right, there are witnesses.
There are witnesses that agree with me that you said something that was false about the Bible.
That believe JFK
Let's go to your other passage.
There's witnesses. Do you accept?
What was your other passage? Please, what was your other passage?
There's witnesses that believe they've seen the UFO.
What was your other passage?
So your witnesses don't count.
What were your other passages? What was your other passages? What was your other passages?
Right.
What was your other passage?
I said both of them.
I'm asking you again. What was your other passage?
You listen.
What was 18 something? What was it in 18?
You get it up. Right?
I've got it here.
Live. You're not
What was it, bro?
You're
just waffling now.
Right?
You're just waffling. What was your passage?
I've told you both. 1828 and 1914.
1828. Let's read 1828. 1828. Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas into the praetorium, and it was early, and they themselves did not enter into the praetorium, so that they would not be defiled, but might eat the Passover.
Yeah.
So this is talking about the day before the Passover. Right.
Brilliant. So John says
before the Passover.
Brilliant.
Right.
Now,
show me the one that says it's on the Passover.
Do you not know?
I'm asking you.
Do you not know?
These are your arguments. Show me.
I thought you said you know.
Go on. Show me.
I thought you said you know.
Go on. Show me.
Huh?
You should know that book by heart.
He should.
Of course.
He was
Of course. I'm imperfect. Carry on.
One verse,
Carry on.
And now you don't even know.
These kind of spurious arguments. How many times do Muslims not know their own Qur'an? This is kind of playground logic, good for 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. If that is the level that Islam has brought you to, no wonder you're following Muhammad. Now, what is the other passage? What is the other passage? Okay.
Chill. Relax.
And also, there's lots of shouting. Why'd you have to shout? What can you just prove? He's right next to you. Just civil conversation.
I wish that you would preach that to the Muslims.
No, but don't worry about the others. You do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't shout.
Okay.
You don't shout. Just he's right next to you. And you can have a decent conversation and come to an understanding.
Okay.
All about it is understanding. As long as you come to an understanding.
So have you got your passage yet?
Come, I'm getting there.
Okay, fair enough.
Nobody's trying to convince or flip anybody. At the end of the day, we're all trying to learn some knowledge.
Okay, while he's looking for his passage, let's now do a comparison to the Quran. A narrative difference in the Quran.
Big book when it's small book.
Yeah. So let's do. One second.
Jesus died on a Friday during Passover on the day of preparation
What's the passage?
for the Sabbath. Matthew 27:62.
Okay.
Mark 15:42.
Matthew. Let's just go to Matthew. Which is the reference in
Mark
Matthew?
15:42.
15:42.
Yeah.
Matthew 50. Sorry, I want to make.
Mark 15:42.
No, I said Matthew. Let's look at Matthew.
I gave you 3 references.
Yes, you rattled them off. Give me the passage. What is it? Matthew what? Where? Sorry, where are we looking? Matthew 27:62. Let's have a look.
So
Matthew 27:62.
Hold on.
This is what it says.
So do you believe Christ was crucified before or after the Passover?
So we'll have to read it back.
I'm asking.
Listen.
What's your name?
Listen.
What's your name?
Listen.
What's your name? Listen.
It says.
His name's
Yeah. Listen. So.
Listen.
Jesus is buried. They're talking about Jesus is buried. So that means he has been crucified.
Okay.
Listen to what it says.
Yeah.
Now on the next day, the day after preparation. So the day after preparation, he is crucified and he is buried on this day. The chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together Pilate and said, so they're not talking about Christ's crucifixion. They're talking about the actions of the Jewish hierarchy. So he lied, because this passage isn't talking about the crucifixion, it's talking about the chief priests, what they did after they crucified Jesus. Now on the next day, the day after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together with Pilate and said, "Sir, we remember that when he was still alive, the deceiver said, 'After 3 days I am going to rise again. Therefore give orders for the grave to be made secure until the 3rd day.'" So the brother tried to highlight a contradiction by saying that one gospel said that he was crucified on the Passover, and he quoted John, and he didn't. It said in the day of preparation, and then he compared it to another passage that doesn't even talk about the crucifixion.
Okay, go to the
It
next
talks about
Go to the next one.
talks about
No, it doesn't.
the actions of the high priest
After
and
what-
what they
after-
do
after
after the day of preparation,
Passover,
the
yeah.
day they have crucified
After
the Lord.
Passover. So John.
So his contradiction
Okay.
does
Let me
not
know when you're done.
exist.
Are you done?
No,
Are you done?
no. I have gone around
No,
and I've
no,
looked
no,
at his
no.
contradiction.
No.
Now let's look at one in the Quran.
Excuse me, we haven't finished this.
Go on.
So, Gospel of John says Christ was crucified before Passover, correct?
Yes, on the day of preparation.
On the day of preparation. And
So-
the Gospel of Mark, why did you only read Matthew when I gave you 3 references? In John, you wanted to read both.
Okay,
Oh, so stop. I'm talking now. Right? So in Mark 15:42, please go to it.
right. We're gonna do one on the Quran now.
Mark,
We'll come back
we-
to Mark.
no, we
We'll come
don't-
back to Mark.
No.
So,
we're not gonna.
we've
we're gonna-
established-
Are you a 12-year-old?
We've established, we've looked at his contradiction. Now let's see if he can defend his Quran.
What makes you think I'm Muslim?
In
I'm
Surah
brown. Hold on. Did I
3,
say I'm Muslim?
42,
Why did you assume I'm
it
Muslim?
says, are you a Muslim?
Why did you assume
Are you a
I'm
Muslim?
You said I'm Muslim.
Are you a
Did
Muslim?
I say
I'm
I
asking
am?
you. I'm
No,
asking
no.
you.
Why did you assume?
I am asking you, are you a
After
Muslim?
you've made the assumption.
Are you a Muslim?
Why did you assume?
Are you a Muslim?
Why did you assume?
Okay, let's go and
Why
look at the
did you
Quran.
assume? Did you racially
In Surah
profile me?
3,
Because I'm brown.
verse
All the other
42,
Muslims are brown. You
Behold,
racially profile
the
me.
angels,
Listen.
everybody say angels,
You racially profile me.
angels.
Why did you
Is
racially
angels
profile me? They
plural
are Christian
or
faces.
singular?
Do you see brown people and think they're
Plural or singular?
Listen. You
So,
can shout like yourself.
in terms
How about you have
of Surah
decent
3,
conversation,
42,
decent conversation.
it says angels.
Apologise for racially
So,
profiling me.
now let's talk about,
Apologise for racially
no
profiling
one's
me.
racially profiled you.
You accuse
You're
me of
hiding
being
behind
Muslim.
this to
You
get away
accuse
from
me
your
of being
Quran.
Muslim without
You're
even
hiding
stating
behind
it.
this
Why
to
did you
get
make that
away from your
assumption?
Quran.
Why did you make that
Am I
assumption?
wrong?
Why did you make that
Am I
assumption?
wrong?
Why did you make that
Am I
racially
wrong?
profiled assumption?
Am I wrong?
Why did you do it?
Am I wrong?
Listen, why did you do it?
So, in
Why did
Surah
you do
3, it
Why
said
did you do it?
angels
You-
came to
You
Mary.
didn't even ask.
No, let's look
Are
at
Hindus-
Surah
Are
19,
Hindus my skin colour?
verse 17
Are Sikhs
to
my skin
18.
colour? Are Buddhists my
She
skin colour?
placed a screen
Are
from
Christians
them.
my skin colour?
Then we
You
sent to
racist.
her our
Racist.
angel.
Racist.
Everybody say
Apologise.
angel.
Apologise for being racist.
So one surah of the Quran
Apologise for
says
being racist.
angels,
Apologise
plural.
for being racist.
Another surah of the Quran
Apologise for being
says
racist.
angels,
Listen.
singular.
Your name is
That is
Listen.
a contradiction in the Quran. Reconcile it. Reconcile it.
You said come back to the Bible, yes?
Reconcile
We're
that
gonna deal
first.
with your racial
No.
profiling.
Reconcile that first.
Why should I reconcile that?
Reconcile that first.
Why-
Oh,
why should-
why should I
He
reconcile
still
that?
assumes.
So he stands here
still assuming
and
I'm
demands
Muslim.
that I reconcile a contradiction in the
racial
Bible.
profiling? He's
But
still
when
assuming I'm
I
Muslim.
show him a contradiction in
He's
the
still
Quran,
assuming.
he says, why should I defend it?
Sorry, is that my book?
Are you a Muslim?
Is that my book?
Are you a Muslim?
Is that my book?
I'm asking you, is this your book?
Why did you assume?
Is this your book?
Why did you assume?
Why
that's
does he
my
want
book?
to answer this question?
I want to go back to the Gospel of
Who's
Mark.
betting this is his book?
I'd like to go to the Gospel of
Anyone who
Mark.
want to take that bet?
I'll take that bet.
There you go. Are you a
I'll take that
Muslim?
bet.
Are you a Muslim?
You assumed I was.
Are you? I'm asking
shouldn't
you.
have.
So you're
That
not.
was very. That,
So you're not.
You racially profiled.
So you're not a Muslim.
Look, let
So you're not a
pride-
Muslim?
Let pride go. I
So
am
you're not a Muslim?
Let pride go.
If I am wrong, I will apologise. Are you a Muslim?
Apologise for racially profiling.
I didn't racially
Without
profile you.
establishing-
I didn't racially profile you.
Without
You're
asking me
playing the
first.
race card
You didn't
because
ask
you're
me.
losing a debate
You didn't
about
ask-
your book.
Why didn't you ask me
That's what
first?
you're doing.